I didn't get dumped. I got returned. Not with a conversation, not with honesty, not with decency, with a joke. And the worst part is, she didn't even realize it was the truth until she heard herself say it out loud. God, I hope never. I'd rather die than marry him. Hey viewers, before we move on, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want more stories like this. Thanks, I'm 31. My name is Noah. I work as a project engineer for a mid-sized construction firm. It's the kind of job where you're always solving problems that aren't supposed to exist. Deadlines, supply issues, inspectors, weather delays, subcontractors who vanish mid-week and pretend their phone broke. It pays well, but it's not the kind of work people brag about at parties. And honestly, that used to be fine with me. Because I wasn't trying to impress strangers. I was trying to build a life. My girlfriend, Rachel, was 28. We'd been together for just over 2 years. We lived in a clean apartment with gray walls and plants she never watered. We had matching towels, a shared grocery list, and a calendar that ran our lives like a small company. From the outside, we looked stable. Inside, I was exhausted. Rachel loved the city. She loved trendy bars, rooftop lounges, places with menus that read like poetry and drinks that cost more than a full tank of gas. I didn't love it, but I went anyway. Because she loved it. And for most of our relationship, that was the deal. She'd bring the chaos. I'd bring the calm. When she got laid off last year, I covered everything without making it a big deal. I picked up overtime. I cooked. I paid the bills. I sat with her through the late-night spirals where she convinced herself she was useless. I held her when she cried. I told her she'd bounce back. And when she finally got a new job in brand strategy, she acted like she'd been resurrected. We celebrated at her favorite place downtown, a sleek bar with neon strips along the ceiling and polished concrete floors. The kind of place where everyone looked like they were trying to be photographed. She called it our spot. She said it with that proud tone, like the bar was proof she was back on track. Thursday night, 2 weeks later, we were there again with her friends. Danny and Brooke. They were the type of friends who never asked about you unless it was to confirm you were still providing value. They drank cocktails with names like Velvet Lie and Citrus Therapy. They talked loudly. They laughed at the same jokes like they were rehearsed. I nursed a beer. Not because I loved beer, because I was driving. Rachel was in the middle of a story about a meeting where her manager questioned her creative direction. She told it like she'd been personally attacked by history itself. And now he had the nerve to ask me for sources, she said, eyes wide, hands flying. Like my data wasn't obvious. Danny gasped dramatically. Brooke shook her head. Power trip, Brooke said. Total mid-manager insecurity. Rachel's nails were painted a color called boss-level red. I knew because she made me watch her choose it. Her hand gripped my forearm like I was a prop. Noah gets it, don't you, babe? She said. 3 sets of eyes swung to me. My role was always the same. Agree, validate, don't derail the vibe. Sounds annoying, I said. She lit up and squeezed my arm harder. Exactly. Then she turned right back to them and kept talking, like my words were just a stamp of approval. That was our life. Rachel performed. I supported. We'd already had this conversation at home before. She'd told me the same story over takeout on our couch. I'd listened, actually listened. I'd even given her advice. But advice wasn't what she wanted. At the bar, she didn't want solutions. She wanted an audience. At some point, my phone buzzed. A text from my brother asking if I could help him replace brake pads on his old truck this weekend. I smiled without thinking. Rachel noticed immediately. Who's that? She asked in a sing-song voice and reached for my phone like she owned it. I pulled it away instinctively. Just my brother, I said. Weekend plans? She made a face. Ugh, you and your greasy garage stuff. But she was smiling like it was a joke. She always mocked my hobbies with that playful tone that hid something sharper underneath. Like she liked the idea of me being useful, but not the idea of me being interesting. The conversation shifted to dating apps. Brooke was complaining about some guy who listed entrepreneur as his job and lived in his mom's basement. Danny laughed too loud. Rachel leaned into me and whispered, loud enough for them to hear, "God, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore." Right, babe? Then she kissed my cheek, theatrical and cold. I smiled the way you do when you're trained to smile. Another round arrived. I didn't get anything. I had one beer left and a long drive home. Rachel didn't notice, or she did, and didn't care. Danny, halfway through her third cocktail, leaned forward and squinted at us like she was about to announce a prophecy. "You two are actually solid," she slurred. "Like grossly solid." Brooke laughed. Rachel wrapped an arm around mine and leaned into me as if she was proud. "We are, aren't we?" she said. Danny wagged a finger between us. "No, I'm serious. When is it gonna happen? When are you gonna propose?" The question hit the table like an object dropped from a height. Rachel's arm stiffened. Brooke's smile died. I felt my brain pull up a memory like it was trying to protect me. 6 months ago. We were hiking and she slipped on loose gravel. I caught her. We stood there breathing hard, and she laughed nervously into my chest. "Don't ever let me go, okay?" she'd said. I remembered believing her. I looked at her now, expecting her to blush, to squeeze my arm, to do the normal thing couples do when someone asks about marriage. Rachel laughed, but it wasn't her warm laugh. It was sharp, thin, like a blade being pulled from a sheath. She picked up her drink and took a slow sip, eyes on the glass instead of me. Then she said it. "God, I hope never." The bar music kept playing, but our table fell quiet. Danny blinked hard, sobering instantly. Brooke stared down at her glass like it suddenly became interesting. Rachel set her drink down with a neat little click. Then she leaned forward, voice dropping like she was sharing a secret. "He's safe," she said. "Total sweetheart." "But marry him?" She made a face like she'd bitten something rotten. "I'd rather die than be trapped in that boring life." Her eyes finally flicked to mine, not with guilt, with defiant amusement. Like she was daring me to react. Like the cruelty was the point. Boring life. My brain flashed through the quiet things I'd built around her without asking for applause. The apartment I kept clean when she spiraled. The pantry stocked because I did the grocery runs. The herb box I built on the balcony because she wanted a little aesthetic. The nights I stayed up with her when she couldn't breathe from anxiety. The weekends I spent running errands so she could rest. And she called it boring. Rachel kept going, fueled by the attention and the alcohol. "Think about it," she said. "Some little house, some little yard, watching you mess with tools every weekend. No thanks, I'd suffocate." The clarity that hit me wasn't loud. It was clean, like a switch flipped. I wasn't angry. Anger requires hope. I wasn't even hurt. I was just awake. This was the first honest sentence she'd ever said to me, because every time she called me her rock, what she really meant was I was heavy enough to stand on. I smiled. Not bitter, not forced, just easy. Rachel's expression twitched, confused. I picked up my beer and finished it in one steady swallow. Set the empty bottle down. Soft clink. Then I stood. Rachel's voice came out sharp. "Noah, where are you going?" I pulled my wallet out, placed cash on the table, enough for my beer and more. I didn't look at Danny or Brooke. I didn't look at Rachel again. I just turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard her push her chair back. "Noah, come on. Don't be sensitive." It was a joke. But jokes don't land like that unless the speaker believes them. The night air outside was cool and smelled like rain. I walked to my car like I had somewhere else to be. And I did. I drove home in silence. No radio, no music. Just the steady engine and the soft sweep of wipers across a light drizzle. When I parked, I saw her heels by the door. her lipstick stained glass on the counter, her blanket tossed on her side of the couch. I didn't look at any of it for long. I walked into the second bedroom she called my man cave with that tone that always meant small, childish, harmless. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and did what I do at work when something is compromised. I made a plan, exit plan, step 1. Move essentials tonight. Clothes, documents, laptop, tools, personal items. Step 2. Find housing, budget flexible, immediate move-in. Step 3. Separate accounts, change passwords, remove saved cards from shared apps. Step 4. Cut communication, block numbers, filter emails, keep it clean. I didn't feel dramatic. I felt efficient. I booked a furnished studio apartment across town that was available the next day, paid the deposit, scheduled movers for the morning. My phone started buzzing on the desk. Rachel. Again. Again. I ignored it. Around 1 a.m., an unknown number called. I answered, not because I wanted closure, but because I wanted to end the version of me that still cared. Noah, what the hell is wrong with you? Rachel's voice snapped, sharp with anger and shaky underneath. You embarrassed me. You just left. I stared out the window at the dark street. My voice came out calm. Just saving you from a fate worse than death. Then I hung up, powered my phone off, and the silence that followed was mine. The next 48 hours were mechanical. I slept in the guest room. I left early while she was still asleep. The movers arrived and took what was mine. Toolboxes, clothes, my computer, my books, my equipment. I didn't take the couch. I didn't take the TV. I didn't take anything I didn't need. I was paying for freedom, not revenge. The new studio was beige, anonymous, quiet. It smelled like clean linen. It wasn't home. But it felt lighter than the apartment I'd been carrying alone. When I turned my phone back on later, the messages followed a predictable curve. Phase 1. Rage. You're pathetic. You can't take a joke. My friends think you're controlling. Phase 2. Guilt. I miss you. I didn't mean it. Please talk to me. Phase 3. Panic. Where are you staying? Are you okay? Why are you doing this? I read them, deleted them, blocked the numbers. 2 days later, my friend Grant called. Rachel reached out to him. She told him I had some kind of breakdown over a joke. Grant sounded half angry, half impressed. What did she even say? He asked. I paused. She said she'd rather die than marry me. Grant swore under his breath. Yeah, he said. That's not a joke. That's a confession. Exactly, I said. And that was the end of it. Or it should have been. A month later, I got an email from a coworker of hers, a woman named Paige. She'd met me once at a holiday event and always seemed decent. Her email was short and careful. I'm not writing this for Rachel. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I heard what she said at the bar. And I also want you to know she's spiraling. Her performance at work has collapsed, and she's on a final warning. I read it twice, and felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not pity. Just confirmation. Because people like Rachel don't value stability until stability is gone. Then they call it love. The attempts kept coming. Nostalgia. A photo of us on the beach from last summer. Crisis. A voicemail crying that she couldn't afford the apartment alone. Flying monkeys. Her mother calling me to be the man I'm supposed to be. Then finally, the mask slipped. A message so bitter it almost made me laugh. Fine. You were always boring. I'm better off without you. I saved that one. Not out of anger, out of clarity. Because it proved the pattern. She didn't miss me. She missed what I provided. 6 months after that night, I bought a small fixer house on a quiet street. Nothing fancy. A garage big enough for tools, a porch, a yard. The boring little life she said would suffocate her. And for the first time, that life felt like freedom. I joined a local DIY group, made new friends, spent weekends working with my hands without being mocked for it. I accepted a new project at work and got promoted. Not because I suddenly became ambitious, because I wasn't draining myself trying to hold someone else upright. Then I heard she'd been fired. I heard her friends dropped her. I heard she moved back in with her mom. And I didn't feel karma. I felt distance. A clean, healthy distance. The final confrontation came when I went back to our old apartment to pick up the last mail I'd forgotten. The place was mostly empty. I was standing in the living room when the door opened and Rachel walked in. She froze when she saw me. She looked different, smaller, paler, tired. She stepped inside slowly like she was entering a museum of her own mistakes. "Noah," she whispered. "Rachel," I said calmly. She stared at the empty walls. "It's so empty," she said, voice cracking. "It's not empty," I corrected. "It's over." Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't mean it," she whispered. "I was just trying to be funny. I was trying to look cool. I didn't realize what I was doing." I watched her for a second. Then I nodded once. "Yes, you did." She flinched. "And you were right," I added. Her head jerked up. "What?" "You were right," I said quietly. "You didn't want that life. You didn't want me. So I set you free." Her mouth opened and nothing came out. Because she wanted me to argue, to rage, to punish her. Anything but agree. I stepped toward the door. "I hope you find what you're looking for, Rachel," I said. "Truly. But do not contact me again." She whispered my name like a prayer as I walked past her. I didn't turn around. The door clicked shut behind me, soft and final. And that was it. I didn't win. I didn't get revenge. I just got my life back. The kind of life she called boring. The kind of life I call peaceful. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you want more stories like this.